let me actually start with this concept itself. Okay, what is the interrelationship between 14, 19 and 21? Okay, because multiple time I have seen copies, people simply draw that triangle and write it is golden triangle. Done. Nothing else they write. Okay, that is not a very good way to write article 14, 19 and 21, right? That you can talk about in GS paper, but that you cannot talk about in law or something. Okay, because they are, the things are different. So let me first explain you that itself. Okay, and then we will move towards 19. See, if you think about it, article 14 basically talks about equality before law and equal protection of law, right? 19 gives you freedom of speech and expression, and 21 gives you life and personal liberty. Now what is the difference between them? I mean, relationship between them. Understand it nicely. Equality principle simply says that you should be treated equally. That is the simple meaning of equality principle. Now when you talk about article 19, then article 19 says that there can be certain reasonable restriction that can be imposed. Now that reasonability, that restriction which will be imposed upon you by the executive must satisfy the requirement of article 14. That is the relationship. Okay, whatever the restriction that will be imposed under article 19 on any of the freedom provided in article 19, that freedom must satisfy the requirement of article 14. Understood? Like for an example, we passed an order, I mean executive passed an order taking away your freedom of speech, and it is arbitrary. That can be challenged, that it is violating article 14, right? Executive passed the order, okay, you will not do this protest here. Now that order of the executive might claim that I am exercising the reasonable restriction provided security of India is threatened. Suppose he takes the reasonable restriction that the security of India is threatened because of your protest. Now that order I can challenge under article 14, saying that that order is a violative of doctrine of arbitrariness. Understood that particular point, right? So that is the relationship between 14 and 19. Okay, the reasonable restriction, if imposed, the manner in which the restriction is imposed must satisfy the requirement of 14. Understood that particular point? Second thing comes down with regard to life and personal liberty, right? So here also it talks about life and personal liberty can be taken by procedure established by law. Now that procedure which takes away your life and personal liberty must again satisfy the requirement of article 14. That procedure which takes away your life and personal liberty must satisfy the requirement of article 14. Okay, so that is the interrelationship between them. And one of the way to live your life freely, not mere animal existence, is to know about every aspect of your life, and that can only be effectively given to you when you have a right to speak about it. Understood, right? So that is the interrelationship between these three. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to draw the diagram in one line. You have to write about each one of them. Okay, the restriction under article 19 must satisfy the condition of article 14. Let me first complete. Second, the procedure established by law taking away life and liberty must satisfy the requirement of article 14, all the principles of article 14, and article 19 is one of the facets to exercise the right under article 21 effectively. That is the golden triangle. Okay? Simply do not make the diagram and golden triangle. Okay, so that is not the way to write it down. Okay, and you can write that very famous line, it forms golden triangle under the constitution, Justice Chandsula, that you can write. Yes, please. Okay, understood that particular point? Quite simple. Okay, so that is the interrelationship between them. Very simple interrelationship, right? So you need not to be very much about it, okay, what to write it. It's a very simple thing. Understood? Now let us come to article 19.